I want to talk about some snubs that aren't in the WWE Hall of Fame that are just really super glaring omissions. And as we're recording this right now, Axe and Smash, Demolition are not in there yet. There was all kinds of rumors they were going in this year. They've yet to officially announce that. Now, I'm saying this right now, and I'll probably have to edit this part out because they'll probably announce it later tonight or something. But yeah, like the Demolition's not there. That's kind of a glaring omission out of the WWE Hall of Fame. I understand why they're not, because there was a lawsuit between them and Vince McMahon, the old regime. So I kind of get that, but they should go in ASAP. And then my other really, really big snub, it's sort of the glaring omission, and I don't know if this will ever happen either, but Jim Cornette and the Midnight Express, I think, need to go in too.
You took mine. Yep, that's the big one for me.
You know what I mean? But I don't know, do they induct Jim Cornette into the WWE Hall of Fame, given that's probably going to ruffle some feathers just because of the fact that, I mean, Jim says exactly what he thinks about everything all the time. Well, by doing that, I mean, it's wildly entertaining, but at the same time, I'm sure he's ticked off a lot of people that are still in the WWE and still backstage or still kind of part of that. So how do you sort of balance that? You know what I mean? To get him there. So I think that's the only reason why they haven't been in there yet. But yeah, what are your thoughts on some of the on those two tag teams? Number one, because those to me are the two most glaring snubs. But are there any others out there?
Yeah, I guess my only question is, do you put Crush in with Demolition? Because Crush had a really good career as well. Brian Adams,
Yeah,
with on his own as a singles guy later. He had a few runs in WWE, and I think he was going to be the Kiss Demon, or made one appearance as the Kiss Demon in WCW. And then they shifted it to Torberg, the son of the baseball manager. It was with the White Sox and Indians. But I guess that'd be my question there. The Midnight Express should be in regardless of what, you think about Jim Cornette. When you look at other Hall of Fames, like they didn't take O.J. Simpson out of the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
right.
I mean, that's an extreme example.
Right.
But and they've done nothing to that level. None of those guys have done anything to that level. I think you just gotta. I mean, they let the Ultimate Warrior in, and that dude said some crazy. I mean, Hulk Hogan's in. Nothing Jim Cornette is saying is anything close to what some of the things those guys said. So I think they got to be in there.
Yeah, very good point. Yeah, because you think back, Warrior said some crazy stuff. Hogan's still saying crazy stuff. We could do we could do a whole episode on just Hogan. And then the other one that popped to mind is the Honky Tonk Man said a lot of stuff, man. And he did a lot of shoot interviews when shoot interviews first became kind of a thing. And he really went after some people. So, but he, just kind of flipped his tune. He actually just did a signing not far from here. A couple weeks back, and everybody said he was great at that, and very personable and very nice and stuff too, which was good to hear. So yeah, he kind of did a 180 on all that once he got into the Hall of Fame, or once he was sort of being rumored to be in there. So,
and it's always going to be colored by who they have a good relationship. It's always going to be, I think, slightly political. Unfortunately, that's the only reason Jim Cornette and the Midnight Express wouldn't be there. Or some of those other guys,
Right. No, the other one that came to mind that I was thinking of as you were talking, who's not in, that I think really should be, is Rick Martel.
I was about to mention him too. I thought, yeah,
great career, and even pre WWE, and then with Strike Force when he got to WWF or WWE. With Tito Santana, had the heel turn, and then did, he was the model, and did Arrogance and all that stuff too. Even went and was in WCW for a little while after that. But yeah, a guy that was always kind of there. He was on every pay-per-view. He had a match on everything, you know what I mean? On all the marquee stuff. I think one of the Royal Rumbles, he was one of the longest, I think he had the record for being the longest entrant in a Royal Rumble, or spending the most time early on, and when they started kind of sort of keeping track of that. But yeah, Rick Martel is another glaring one that I think needs to get in pretty soon.
Yeah, he was an AWA champion even before he got there, world heavyweight champion. So certainly, some people have criticized that. Well, it was kind of the end of the AWA, and he was just, in that position. But I don't know. I always liked him. I thought he was a great in-ring wrestler, and also the model thing was really good at the time, spraying the mist in people's eyes. That was yeah, that was a good one. I think that's certainly someone you could look at. And then, I'm sure there's all sorts of guys politically that have been on the outs over the years you could look at, and you know, it's always going to be subjective, and they still
Yeah.
don't really have it. I think they need a physical building for this thing somewhere.
Yeah, I thought they were
Um,
doing that whole series that was on A&E where they were going and buying all the old memorabilia back and stuff too. I mean, that seems like that they're gearing up to have a physical building somewhere. And I can't imagine them not announcing doing something like that in the next couple years, given that they've got all that memorabilia back now. I mean, they still have warehouses full of that stuff too. Yeah, I think maybe they were just waiting for the Netflix sort of transition and all that to kind of get out of the way first, because that sort of took priority. But I could for sure see them having a physical building, WWE Hall of Fame, whether they do it in Connecticut or they go to a bigger city or stick it somewhere like New York, whatever. But yeah, I can't imagine them not having an actual building for that Hall of Fame here pretty soon.